Get Bozzy YouTube, 6ftHax here. Have for you guys today one hell of a NU battle I had against Argon. Sit back and relax, guys, because this one is a bit of a lengthy one. So if you do enjoy it, make sure to hammer on that like button down below. And looking at my team, this is a pretty cool team that I based around Drampal and Volturn because I really wanted to use Drampal and try out Scarf Passimian. And Argon's using a pretty cool team as well. But if you couldn't tell from team preview, I literally have nothing that stops Calm Mind, Iron Defense, Stored Power, Moonlight, and Necrozma from absolutely bending me over, and I didn't realize that first thing going into this battle. So he's going to be leading off with Steelix, as I'm going to be leading off with Passimian. As soon as I weaken the Steelix, this is his only answer to Drampal. So turn 1, I go straight for the close combat. Actually, judging for how much damage that close combat did, if the damage calc was correct, he is not running any SPDEF investment at all. He's actually like max defense, max HP. So after that close combat damage, and if I'm able to get rocks up, Steelix should be OHKO'd by a Specs Modest Draco Meteor. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to take this chance to switch into my Rotom on the off chance that maybe he did just want to leave in his Steelix here, as he actually switches into his Necrozma, knowing that he can easily take one close combat. Now Necrozma can run an infinite amount of sets, and as soon as I clicked Will-O-Wisp here, I had the biggest Leo, you're an absolute moron moment, because he goes for Calm Mind after I Will-O-Wisp. And me, being the genius that I am, did not remember, hey, I have Toxic on Steelix while having Dragon Tail on Slowking. So I clicked Will-O-Wisp and I see Calm Mind, and this has just gotten absolutely terrible. The only way I deal with this Necrozma set that I now know only has a psychic offensive move, because he just revealed Rock Polish and Calm Mind. He needs to have Stored Power or Psychic, and he has to have the Moonlight. So there's a chance he may not have Moonlight, so that's one way I can deal with Necrozma. But now my second best way of dealing with it is hoping that I can consistently Dragon Tail it out with Slowking, and that somehow Necrozma does not end up being his final Pokemon. All of this could have been avoided if I had just thought my play out a bit more, Volt switched into Steelix, and I could have Toxic'd it, and this Necrozma literally would not even be a problem. But I royally screwed up, Will-O-Wisped it, and now I'm in a very terrible spot. What was originally going to be a pretty good matchup has now become infinitely worse because I just made this play. So I need to find some way to play around this Necrozma, because I'm not about to just lay down and let it beat me. So I go for the Future Sight here, as I believe he went for the Moonlight, and because Future Sight does take one turn to kick into effect, I decided to go for a Scald this following turn, I'm pretty sure, just trying to chip him down, because my main thought process right now was to try and stall out Moonlight. So I believe he's already gone for 1 or 2. I'm gonna put like a little counter on the screen for you guys to count the Moonlights, because during the actual battle I was keeping up with them. So I'm pretty sure he's gone for 1 or 2 Moonlights at this point. So he is going to be able to chew this next hit depending on whatever I go for, but because I do have the Future Sight up, what I'm going to do is actually go for the Dragon Tail. Now, as long as I don't Dragon Tail him into the Scrafty, something is going to get chipped down, and I actually get really lucky with this Dragon Tail, and I Dragon Tail him into the Dodrio, and I honestly did not expect Future Sight to just straight OHKO Dodrio here. Honestly, Dodrio might have not been that big of a problem, because I have Rocky Helmet, Aftermath, Garbodor, and I have Steelix, so Steelix can easily chew any hit from it, and then Garbodor can chip it down. As down goes the Dodrio, that's absolutely excellent, but I can still literally just lose to Necrozma. So in comes the Scrafty, as he gets pretty lucky with the Crunch. Actually, the fact that he's got Crunch is kind of good and bad. It's good because I keep my Rocky Helmet. It's bad because now I'm in a range where if he's got Knockoff, it knocks me out because of the -1 defense drop. So expecting him to just go ahead and finish me off, I'm going to go for a Lair Spikes. There was also the chance that he did want to switch out here if he didn't have the Knockoff, because while I guess it is a little weird to have Knockoff and Crunch, I don't really know why you would have Crunch in the first place over Knockoff. So yeah, I guess that is a possibility, but either way, I'm able to get up 1 layer of spikes, and that is absolutely amazing, as he makes a pretty solid play here and going for the Toxic. There was no real reason for me to leave in Garbodor. I still have a lot of use for Garbodor, especially if I can consistently switch it in to that Sand Slash as a rapid spins, or if I can just switch it into Scrafty to be able to check it with Rocky Helmet and Aftermath. Plus, if I am able to get rid of the Alolan Sand Slash, then I can get up my layer of spikes after he rapid spins them away. So that's another main reason why I wanted to keep Garbodor around, as the Toxic is going to be very annoying on my Rotom here. It's not entirely too big of an issue because I can play Rotom well enough, as he makes a pretty aggressive switch directly into his Necrozma. I really did not think he would just aggressively switch it in like that, considering that this is his win condition. But I guess Will-O-Wisp there on my part was going to be a little bit obvious, but it's not entirely too bad, as I should be able to hopefully Volt Switch here, or if I want to, I can try and pressure him in going for the Leaf Storm right away. As I go for the Volt Switch, I do a solid like 30-ish%, which has me thinking Leaf Storm could maybe do 50-55% depending on how the damage rolls go, and if he's got boost in his special defense or not. As I Volt Switch into my Steelix. Yes, Steelix can literally do nothing to this Necrozma, because I'm 90% sure he's running max HP, judging for how much damage my Volt Switches and Scalds were doing to him. I just need to find out if he's running max defense, any special attack investment, or any speed investment. So I bring in my Steelix mainly just to go for Stealth Rocks, in hopes to maybe pressure him to try and rapid spin them away a lot sooner. That way I can maybe pick off the Sand Slash as he tries to go for the rapid spin. Then I can hopefully play around his team well enough to where I can get back up my Lair Spikes and my Stealth Rock. So I do go for the rocks, as I believe he went for another Moonlight there, and I decide to switch directly into my Slowking here. There's literally nothing this Necrozma can do to my Slowking, but the thing is that even though his Necrozma can't touch me, if Necrozma ends up being his final Pokemon, then I can phase him around and it literally Calm Minds and I lose. So again, that's the scenario I'm trying to avoid with this absolutely terrifying monster, as I am going to go for the Dragon Tail here. I'm pretty sure there's no real reason for me to go straight for the Scald. The burn damage isn't going to rack up because he's going to be taking 6% every turn, so plus he's got leftovers, so he's not taking damage necessarily. As I Dragon Tail him into the Sand Slash, and this is really good because it turns out that he's got leftovers. So while I do risk him here going for the knockoff, I need to get rid of the Sand Slash if he goes for the Rapid Spin. But he goes for the Toxic. That's actually really bad. If I miss this Fire Blast, things get even worse, which luckily I don't miss Fire Blast, and I'm able to just roast the Sand Slash. Now, the good thing about this is that I have my Spike and I have my Stealth Rocks. They are completely here to stay. If I'm able to get up any more layers of spikes with my Garbodor, that's going to be even more damage this Necrozma is going to be taking upon switching. But the fact that I'm now Toxic means that I need to be a lot more careful with my Slowking. Slowking has now become a lot less helpful than it was before, due to the fact that I'm Toxic, and if I leave it in for too long to try and phase him around and rack up entry hazards damage, then eventually he's going to just beat me with Necrozma. So I get a little unlucky with this Dragon Tail, and I Dragon Tail him into the Kadabra, as I believe I am going to be forced to switch out because I do not want to stay in, take toxic damage, and take whatever special effective move Kadabra has to hit my Slowking with. So I make the safe switch back into my Steelix, as he actually switches directly back into his Necrozma, knowing that if I did go for any move, Necrozma would be able to easily chew it. But I think at this point he only has like 5 or 4 Moonlights left, and like I said, I'm definitely focused on stalling out this thing's Moonlights and hopefully just being able to rack up enough damage to where I can pressure him and beat him eventually. So he's going to go for the Calm Mind here, as I go for the Earthquake, just trying to see how much damage this Earthquake would do. Plus I could force him to potentially go for another Moonlight and waste that next Moonlight, which means he's got one less Moonlight for the remainder of this battle. So I get him below 50%. He definitely has to Moonlight this turn. There's no way he can risk me potentially getting a crit or being aggressive and going for the Earthquake again. And then if I do get a crit, he's shit out of luck if he doesn't go for the Moonlight. So he does end up going for another Moonlight here. That's absolutely amazing because I safely bring in my Slowking. +1 stored power is not going to be doing anything to my Slowking. So along with the rocks and toxic damage, I'm in a very okay scenario to just safely Dragon Tail him out here, even if he does want to try and be aggressive, as he actually ends up going for the rock polish. Maybe he thought I would go for the future sight, which honestly isn't a bad play because that did cross my mind, but at this point I need to be careful with my Slowking. I can't let it get too weakened or Necrozma just plows through me. So I Dragon Tail him into the Steelix, which is actually pretty awesome because there is a chance that I can outspeed him and knock him out with Scald or Fire Blast. But the issue with that is that he could be running some speed creep to potentially outspeed me, and I really don't want to risk that and need to potentially take an Earthquake. So I am going to be forced to switch out here, I'm pretty sure, because there was no way I'm in the scenario of where I can play Slowking like this after being toxic. Maybe if I wasn't toxic, but right now I'm not in that scenario. So I do bring in my Rotom as he actually switches back into his Necrozma, and this is really good for me because I am timid max special attack. There is a good chance that Leaf Storm could 2-hit KO him if he doesn't go for the Moonlight this turn, thanks to the burn and the entry hazard damage that this Necrozma has taken. So I'm going to fully go for that chance. I'm going to go straight for the Leaf Storm. Even if he goes for the Moonlight, that is still a plus for me because that's one less Moonlight that he now has. So he does end up making the safe play and going for the Moonlight. If he wanted to try and go for the Rock Polish, that wouldn't have been a bad play either because I think he does outspeed me the next turn. But then at that point, I get a guaranteed free switch back into my Slowking, and that can be really good for me. This way, he could potentially try and be aggressive and go for the stored power just to try and chip down my Slowking or get off a bit more damage on my Rotom here. And I make a really bad play here and I go for the Volt Switch. I completely forgot about Steelix. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I was so focused on trying to weaken this Necrozma that Steelix being in the back and being able to just safely switch in completely escaped my mind. And this misplay honestly isn't entirely game changing, but it does suck because now my Rotom has to take another turn of toxic damage, and that could be very detrimental to me in the long run of this battle. So what I should have done was just hard switched out a -2. I'm not going to be doing much damage to Necrozma anyways, and I could have just completely avoided this scenario. There was no reason for me to have gone for the Leaf Storm there or gone for the Will-O-Wisp. I wasn't going to stay in. I should have switched out. Hard switched anyways, but hindsight is 2020. As I hard switched directly into my Drampa here, I did kind of half expect him to go for the Toxic, but Earthquake isn't a bad play either. I don't know if my Berserk activated or not. I didn't check the bottom screen, but I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be like an animation of Drampa getting his Berserk activated. Either way though, I click Modest Specs Fire Blast and the Sash on Kadabra is broken. Necrozma is potentially knocked out after Hazard. Steelix goes down, and Scrafty's not switching in either. As I sack off Drampa to the Kadabra, I don't want anything on my team to take any unnecessary damage. Plus, Drampa really isn't doing anything in this battle. I really wanted Drampa to just come in every time and just click Draco, but then I fucked up and Will-O-Wisp Necrozma. So yeah, Drampa essentially became useless. As I bring in my Scarf Passimian, I am going to be able to bring him down to his Sash on the off chance that he does have the counter, which I honestly did not even expect him to have. I know Sash counter Kadabra is common in NU, but I really didn't think he would have it. And funny enough, Steelix really didn't do anything besides check this Kadabra because I don't beat Necrozma and I don't beat Scrafty. At this point, his switch-ins are getting severely worn down, which means if Necrozma is his final Pokemon, he could just win after one Calm Mind. So maybe me getting all these KOs is not entirely the best thing for me right now in this game because he can literally still just win with Necrozma. So I'm going to bring in my Rotom here. I outspeed the Scrafty, doesn't matter if he's Jolly, and if he brings in Necrozma after entry hazard damage, I have a chance to knock him out with the Leaf Storm, but then there's also the chance that I get a low damage roll and the 10% chance of me missing. So that is not very good for me. As he does bring in Scrafty, I'm going to go for the Volt Switch because I'm faster than him. I don't knock him out with Thunderbolt and I don't knock him out with Leaf Storm. I don't want to be a -2 anyways if he does want to bring in Necrozma. So I'm going to Volt Switch directly into my Garbodor. Garbodor should be able to knock out this Scrafty as he knocks me out thanks to Rocky Helmet and Aftermath. And if he doesn't knock me out, then this is going to give me the chance to get up a second layer of spikes, which means even more chip damage on Necrozma. And then the only thing I have to worry about is missing Leaf Storm, and I don't have to worry about the low damage roll anymore. But he is going to be able to knock me out. And at this point, guys, I absolutely need Rotom to not only hit a Leaf Storm against this Necrozma, but I need to not get a low damage roll either. So thanks to the Stealth Rocks and the Spikes, he is in range of where I can potentially knock him out. So it all comes down to this, and I don't miss, but there's a chance I could get the low roll as the HP goes down. It goes Necrozma, the absolutely terrifying Pokemon that shouldn't have even been a problem at all in this game if I had just used my brain cells and thought out my play more, has finally gone down. The very final turn of the match. Thank you to my trusty lawnmower Rotom. Mo, man, I hate Necrozma. Please get Necrozma out of NU. Oh my god, dude. If I didn't have Dragon Tail on Slowking, then I literally just lost too. So really happy I had Dragon Tail on Slowking. But yeah, this team is probably going to be a lot better once Necrozma gets banned from NU. So I'll probably use it more when that happens. But for now, if you're facing a mono attacking Necrozma, always Toxic it or always have a Dark type. That's like literally the only ways to stop that disgusting Necrozma set. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this lengthy, intense battle and you learned something. And yeah, hammer arm that like button down below, guys. 2 videos on the end screen. Thank you all for watching. Later.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.